Hello, hello. This is Patty Jo. We are continuing on with the poor torture of this man who I don't even think. I think we got into Darrell questioning him, but he actually goes on and on and on about where he was and what he saw, and in just the video part, that he after the video cuts out, so does his eyesight, memory, and brain function, I guess. I was looking at some comments. That's what they're called. They're called comments, Patty. Coffee Cake says this, which I thought was hugely helpful. Having worked for a Wisconsin law, I'm not going to go in too far because I don't want to give away too much of people's privacy. But she worked within the court system, or he, I don't know, Coffee Cake seems feminine to me, but I digress. When you give the court an original document for filing, it is the court's document then. So they keep the original, and then they take a copy and they stamp it for the whatever, and then they give 2 copies to the plaintiffs, and am I reading this correctly? And 2 copies for the defense. So there's like 5 copies made, but the original belongs to the court. Not you return it through the Fed and with the timestamp and all this other, made up stuff that he's got going on. And yes, he thinks that his stuff is going to work. All of his shenanigans are going to work because he thinks that he's the center of the universe. I mean, that goes back to like narcissistic style behavior, the special me stuff that I've been reading about. Sense of importance, preoccupation with power and beauty and success. He wants to be affiliated and aligned with that. He feels entitled. So he thinks that everybody perceives him the way he perceives himself, and that he should just be able to talk his way out of everything. It's just disgusting. It is. I mean, he is so seamless at this. I don't know if I'm allowed to. Seamless at this stuff that it's gross. But here we go, back to this poor guy who went to a parade and had to see Darrell do his...
And you know that for sure?
It's an estimate.
So it would be fair to say you don't know for sure.
You don't know for sure.
Grounds.
Sustain.
Grounds for sustain, Your Honor?
Substain.
Argumentative. Sustained as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
Would it be fair to say that in the exhibit that was just shown, that from the position that you said that you would have been positioned at, would it be fair to say that the vehicle passed that position pretty quickly?
Okay, so we don't have to go back and review exactly where we are because it doesn't matter. He's going to keep drilling and zoning in on this thing. Okay, you couldn't have seen me. You didn't see me, but we clearly saw. I'm sure they're going to bring up that picture again. We clearly saw you, Darrell. Everybody saw you.
Yes.
So how were you able to get a look at the driver if it passed your position quickly and we can see lots of people standing in that position?
They were distracting people.
When the vehicle passed by me, the vehicle at that point in time was a threat to me and my family. So I was very focused on what was going on. Very focused. And it passed directly in front of me, about 10 feet away. So all my attention was directly on that vehicle. That's how I noticed that.
And you saying it passed 10 feet in front of you?
Approximately, yes.
Does this exhibit that was just shown depict what you are saying now, that it passed 10 feet in front of you?
Yes.
So can we pull that back up?
Why would you do that? Why would you pull up any exhibit that shows you in the vehicle committing the crime to show it again to the jury? He is absolutely dumb. Somebody commented that I insulted Eeyore by his, trying to pretend like he's feeling emotional. But we would insult anybody comparing Darrell to them. That is an insult now to Darrell them.
Will be shown to everyone?
Yes.
Oh.
And if the jurors would let me know when it's on
Calling
the
him
screens
dumb
in the
insults
jury
dumb
box, please.
people.
Go ahead.
That's a good label.
You
Jury
want
got
it played? They have it, yep, they confirmed. Do you want it played from a certain
Well,
spot?
I'll get to that. Just so we're clear for the record and for the jury, your position will be somewhere in here as you testified. Would that be fair to say?
Correct. But
Can we put that X
Hold
down?
on, let him finish. You interrupted
Okay,
him.
okay.
given the angle of this, it's very hard for me to show precisely where I am. It's a little, it's, if I can draw an X, I'm trying to draw it as
You're
far,
allowed to use your finger.
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
like as far down here as possible. It's not right, it's not like any of these people here. It's actually, because this is still, all this video here is still on the east side of Maple. I am on the west side of Maple. So when I put an X here, I am essentially, I'm going to call it way down there, several hundred feet. I'm not any of these people pictured. Does that make sense?
No, it actually doesn't.
Okay. To anybody who's not trying to control the narrative, yes, it makes perfect sense.
But I was referring, so I probably had it a little coming this way. So by what you're saying, you would have been approximately in this area. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Object to the annotation. The witness drew twice now where he was, and I think adequately explained it.
Grounds.
I'm going to sustain the objection and direct Mr. Brooks to have the witness put where the area that he was in.
Okay.
So we'll clear the annotation and go ahead. You can do that, sir.
And stop trying to control the narrative, Darrell. Who's that man? Okay.
Now, did you mean to put that arrow?
I did not mean to put that arrow there.
Let's clear it again. We'll have you do it. I know it's a touchy screen, so do it again.
So you and your family were approximately in the area of where you drew the X. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Would it be also be fair to say that there are quite a few people in that area?
Yes.
He wasn't distracted by the people standing there so that he was confusing the person who is driving the SUV through the parade route and hitting people with it. You know, one time, long time ago, we had as part of our protocols that if you were having a stroke and I had you as a paramedic, that I would draw blood and that blood would be used for, I mean, there's not a lot we can do for you in an ambulance if you're having a stroke. If you're having a stroke, everything we do is to assess where you are in the progression of your stroke. It is not treating the stroke. Treating the stroke is giving you medication to break up a clot. Treating a stroke could be doing a surgical procedure to break up a clot or a surgical procedure to evacuate a bleed. Those are treatments. Your blood pressure, your glucose reading, any blood work, immediately any EKG, that is all part of the assessment. You want to get that as early on in the process as you want. So the protocol is written for paramedics to start that process. And part of the process was to draw blood. So I go into the hospital with my blood. Now, we don't have little computers on the medic. We can have blood tubes. We can have the equipment to draw the blood. But we don't have the little computer that prints your name and stuff like that. So I bring the blood over to the nurse and I want them to be able to be labeled, and here's your blood that you can start. Well, I can't take that. That's what the nurse said. I can't take that. Okay, why? Because I don't know where that blood came from. And I was like, it came from the patient. I have a patient, and it came from the patient. Well, it could be from anybody. Oh, yes, because I would mistake the patient. Maybe I accidentally took it from like the person driving, or I took it out of my own arm, or some bystander. It's the patient's blood. So she said it has to be labeled. Okay, well, we don't have an ability to label. So the next time I came in, which happened to be a couple of hours later, and I am not very good at keeping my tongue, I took tape and I wrote BLOOD and I taped it onto the blood tubes. And I handed it to the same nurse and I said, okay, there's your labeled blood. Like, I'm not going to mistake it. I don't have 10 patients like you do. I have one. The guy did not mistake all of these other people for you, Dopey Darrell.
Would it be fair to say that
Yes, I got in trouble.
you can see, I guess it would be some type of lights from the vehicle that passed? Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
So you're talking about these two little...
And you
animated
estimate that
things.
where you can see those lights and where you would have positioned that is 10 feet.
Can you repeat the question?
Would you say that where you can see those lights at, that you just said that you can see, and the position that you drew yourself to be positioned in, you would estimate that that's 10 feet?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'll object and move to strike. I think this is a misleading question. We're at the beginning of the video. Those taillights are not the vehicle in question.
Where did the tail lights come from then?
A different vehicle.
He thinks that's him.
Oh,
So would it be fair to say that they
hold on. There's been an
objection.
There's been an objection. I believe the question mischaracterized the evidence. So strike the question, strike his response. Please rephrase. If you want to watch the video again to establish what you're asking, that would be fine.
Before I play, do you recall there being any other vehicles positioned by where you were standing at with your family?
Hold on, are you talking about at the time?
I'm that we're seeing this, or
At the time that we're looking at right now, do you recall any other vehicles being present, positioned
He really
where
wants
you were
them to
standing
be
with
in.
your family?
I believe there was a vehicle to my left, which would have been immediate to my left was the group that was walking with the Catholic community of WAUKESHA, and just to the west of them was some sort of vehicle that was participating in the parade.
So it would have been a little bit further west.
Yes.
From your recollection, would you say that that was the vehicle that you said would have been positioned a little further west?
Sir, do you mean the vehicle in the photo? In
Yes, the
video?
vehicle that.
Thank you.
The vehicle in the exhibit. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just want to make sure we all understand.
Okay,
It's possible that's the vehicle.
but you don't know for sure.
No.
Can you play a little bit of it? I'll tell you when to pause. Can we bring the X off?
We can, and we will. Go ahead and play.
Especially if you say please.
Pause.
Pause.
Would it be fair to say that it looks like the vehicle that's traveling with direction, would that be west?
Which vehicle are you referring to?
The vehicle that just drove through the middle of the screen.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
For
Would
the
it be
record,
fair-
hold on. For the record, the video was paused at 4 seconds. Go ahead.
Does the vehicle appear to be in the middle of the street? Would that be fair to say?
At that point, yes.
And would you estimate the middle of the street to be 10 feet from where you were positioned at the time?
Yes.
No, I would be a little further than that.
It's an estimate, Darrell.
And with all the people in that general vicinity, would that in any way be hard for you to focus on if you could actually see who was driving the vehicle?
No, when I gave the
I'm going to answer for him. The answer is no. Your stupid troll head was hanging out the window that was open while you're looking at all of the carnage that you're causing. I saw you very clearly. I think that's the answer.
the description, the vehicle was right in front of me and there was nobody in my way.
Do you see yourself? Did your position move closer to the vehicle, as we can see that it's in the middle of the street and you just testified to that? Did you move closer to the vehicle or did you move back from the vehicle? What did you do at that point when you noticed that the vehicle was approaching your position?
It happened very quickly. I don't know that I moved in any direction when the vehicle came by.
So to your recollection, you pretty much stayed where you were at.
Yes, it happened very quickly.
So it would be fair to say that it was, well, let me back up. What will you define as very quickly? Few seconds?
Yes.
And in a few seconds, you were able to see the driver of the vehicle hanging out of the window and almost falling and doing all that in just a few seconds?
Yes.
And you also made mention to the driver of the vehicle looking behind them. Do you recall saying that?
Yes.
So, in your recollection, you witnessed the driver hanging out of the driver's side window, being concerned that they would possibly fall out of the vehicle, and looking back and continuing to drive in a straight line.
Nobody is concerned about you. Nobody is concerned.
All in a few seconds.
Can you repeat that question?
You were able to see, because you testified that everything happening very quickly, and then you defined that as being a few seconds. Would that be fair to say that that's what you just testified to?
Yes.
So what I'm asking is, in those few seconds, you were able to see, from your recollection, you were able to see the driver of the vehicle hanging out of the vehicle, you being concerned that the driver would possibly fall from the vehicle. Notice that the driver was looking back and continuing to drive in a straight line. You witnessed all this in a few seconds.
Yes.
I would not say continue to drive in a straight line. All the rest of that, yes.
You witnessed.
Did you notice that the state didn't ask him to identify Darrell? At least not yet. I don't know if they're going to redirect, but and he clearly saw him. I mean, not that it's necessary. The still shot of the video that they did show, because they're not going to show videos of people actually getting hit. Thank goodness. I don't want to see it, but that was clearly enough. You could see it, his ridiculously large head, right in very clearly, clear as day, even though there's obvious movement in the shot they showed.
Saw that in a few seconds.
Yes.
Yes.
Except you're weaving all over the road like some maniac with a big head, a little brain.
Are we done with the video?
Oh yeah, we done with the video. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Just so we're clear for the record, the exhibit that we just watched, the driver of the said vehicle was not hanging out of the window. Would that be fair to say?
Not at that time.
Correct.
Yeah. That doesn't make him a liar. I wouldn't know. Somebody said something about Darrell being a liar. And I will assert that Darrell is not. He is a reinventor of the truth. He lives in his own universe in his twisted head, and he just expects everybody to live there with him. Part of being a narcissist.
Reference to the make and model of the vehicle. How were you able to determine that in just a few seconds?
Given my job, I know different makes and models of vehicles, so I'm positive on the make and model.
So would you know the make and model of pretty much any vehicle that would pass you on a street?
Most, yes.
Most, but not all.
Some of the newer vehicles look very similar. Some might be a little difficult,
Yes.
but I'm very confident in that vehicle
Yes,
description.
some of the newer vehicles are very similar.
You were able to determine that in a few seconds?
Yes.
You made mention to some mechanical problems. You believe that there may have been some mechanical problems. How were you able to come to that determination?
That was my initial concern because of the noise that the engine was making. It wasn't a normal engine noise. The RPMs were revving much higher than normal.
Can you explain to the jury what do you mean by that, the RPMs? How that has any bearing on the engine?
Sounds very, very high pitched. This is very different than a normal vehicle driving down the road. Very, very high pitched. It would get your attention.
And so upon hearing that, from your recollection, you thought because of that sound that there had to be some mechanical problems going on with the engine.
No, that there could be.
I thought that there could be.
But it was your first initial thought, correct?
He wants to twist it.
Correct.
And you were able to hear that sound and come to a conclusion that possibly there were mechanical issues all in a few seconds.
Yes.
A lot runs through your mind at that point in time.
He is a trained individual who is trained to think like that in moments like that.
Yes.
And would it be fair to say, because depicting from the exhibit, that there were quite a few people in that general area, you were able to hear this engine over all the noise and chaos that was going on
That I
at
had
that
created.
time?
Yes, absolutely.
And you can hear the engine clear over all those people.
Hold on 1 second, everybody. I need to pause. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm having a little snafu here. Let's
Yes.
get the answer. Okay.
Would it be fair to say that there were hundreds, even thousands of people present at the parade that day?
Yes, everybody was watching.
Hundreds for sure in my area. Sure.
In your general area, hundreds.
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that hundreds of people can get pretty loud?
Yes.
You stated that, I can't remember what side of the road you said it would be, but you made reference to an open alleyway. Do you recall saying that?
No.
Do you recall if you were positioned by any cross streets?
Yes, there was an intersection just to my right with Maple Avenue.
Do you recall if it was barricaded at the time?
I believe it was, but I couldn't say for sure.
Do you recall if any law enforcement was stationed at that barricade?
I don't recall.
So it would be fair to say you don't recall if there could have been an exit out of the parade route at that time?
I don't recall.
In any of the exhibits that you were shown, and not the still frames, but the videos, 132, 133, and I think it was 134. Did you see yourself in any of those videos?
I did not.
Did you see your family members in any one of those videos?
I did not.
To back up really quick to the mechanical issue again, you made mention to sounded like the engine was sputtering. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Can you define to the jury what you mean by sputtering?
I heard noises that sounded like almost like a popping, which at the time I didn't know what was. I thought it was possibly mechanical related. In retrospect, it may have been impacts of the vehicle hitting things. I don't know. I don't know which it was.
That didn't go well for you,
It
Darrell.
would be fair to say that, based on what you testified to earlier about the RPMs and you knowing that would have something to do with the engine being louder, high pitched. I think it was what you said. It would be fair. Do you think it would be fair to say that if that is pursuant to the actual engine, how could that have anything to do with something being struck if that's engine, that's inside of the vehicle?
Can you repeat the question? I'm not sure what the specific question was.
The mechanical issues that you are describing was pretty much geared towards engine trouble. Would that be fair to say? A sputtering engine, high pitch.
It was very high pitched, so it could be a mechanical thing, or it could be the engine or the transmission being like in the wrong gear, so that it's sounding much higher.
From your line of work, obviously you've been doing it for a very long time. Engine or transmission, possibly the vehicle being in the wrong gear, as you just said. Could that at any time cause someone who's driving the vehicle to lose control of the vehicle?
I guess it could.
Do you know for sure, or is that just a guess?
That's just a guess.
You asked him to guess.
So you don't know for sure if that would cause, if the
He's
driver
not a
may have
mechanic.
been stuck in the wrong gear, you're not sure if that would have caused them maybe to lose control of the vehicle at that point in time?
It could. I don't know.
I don't know. There you go. He doesn't know. Moving on.
From the, well, let me back up. From your recollection, do you recall there being any tents to the vehicle? Like tinted windows or anything?
Tents.
I don't recall.
Tents. Like for camping. Let me just bring up that picture.
Can we
Big
pull
troll
up
face.
Exhibit 9?
Go ahead.
How do you show it to everybody? Do you say publish?
It's on
I'm sorry.
published, yes. It is.
Jury will let me know when it's in the jury box, please.
Would it be fair to say from this still shot depiction that there are in fact tinted windows of the vehicle that you identified?
Now, Darrell. What are you trying to prove? I'm sorry. What are you trying to prove? Are you trying to prove that this is indeed tinted? Yeah, it is. It is not tinted so dark that you can't kind of see in the vehicle. But this, Darrell, this big hole here. Right where the steering wheel is. The air is not tinted. air is not tinted. And your big troll face with your big troll head on your bobblehead body. Now I'm offending bobbleheads. Is clear. It is very clear and obvious who that is.
It does appear that the windows in the back are tinted.
So you don't see any tinted windows on the side too?
Yes, when I mean back, I mean driver's door back.
I apologize. I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay.
Back driver's side window and the window, the immediate window after that as well. Would it be fair to say that from this picture there are two tinted windows that you can visibly see?
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say?
Darrell, the back driver's side door and the rear side window and even the back window probably you can generally say. You can also say that the idiot driving with his window down that you can clearly see inside of is driving like a maniac because there's movement in this photo with damage to the hood, so something has obviously happened. You don't even have to, this could be isolated and you can see that you're doing something wrong.
Say?
Yes.
You can take that down.
You can take that down. God, he's such a...
In that Exhibit 9 steel frame, it would be also fair to say that the driver is not hanging out of the window at that point?
That is fair to say, that's correct.
Doesn't mean he didn't see what he saw.
To your recollection, do you know who may have took any of those videos, not the still frames, but the videos that were shown?
No.
One of the thousands of witnesses.
Were you injured in any way during the incident?
No.
Any of your family?
No.
Do you know if anyone filed a claim in this incident?
I don't understand the question.
Filed a claim like
You don't know either.
seeking to be an injured party?
Objection.
Rounds.
Sustained.
Working in law enforcement, have you at any point seen the complaint in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. He may answer if he's able.
A complaint regarding this case?
Yes.
No.
Because it just doesn't matter.
Do you know if there's a plaintiff in this case?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Sustained.
Plaintiff in the case?
I sustained the objection.
Okay, thank you.
You don't have to answer.
All right.
Do you even know if there's a plaintiff in this matter?
Same objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Being in law enforcement for as long as you have, are you aware that there has to be an injured party to bring a claim?
Objection.
Grounds.
Argumentative.
Law enforcement doesn't mean you're a lawyer. And I know a lot of law enforcement officers who are lawyers.
Sustained. Also misstates the law.
And it misstates the law. Because you're wrong.
In any of your investigations during your career, were you ever made aware at any time that the state of Wisconsin can be a plaintiff in a matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
relevance.
Sustained.
And from your recollection, do you recall seeing any other occupants in the vehicle at the time?
I don't remember seeing anyone in the vehicle other than the driver.
Were you able to get a look inside of the vehicle?
I could only see the driver. I couldn't tell you whether there was anyone else in the vehicle or not.
So it would be fair to say that you're not sure.
That would be fair.
Casted so much doubt for me, Darrell, that it wouldn't be reasonable that the driver didn't have full control of the vehicle and was driving through the parade.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Yes, please. Thank you, Your Honor. If we could bring 132 back up for
Object
the
to
jury,
everything.
and while we're waiting for their screens to come up, I do have some separate questions.
Go ahead.
You testified that you're getting paid today as you sit there, correct?
That is correct.
By the city of Franklin?
Yes.
Okay. State of Wisconsin's not cutting that check.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Objection, speculative.
Speculative.
Overruled.
Speculate who
You
pays
may
you.
answer.
Correct. It's just the city of Franklin's paying, no one else.
Do you get paid more money if there's a guilty verdict?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. It's not hearsay. You may answer.
No.
No.
Direct your attention to Exhibit 132 on the screen. If we could jump ahead to maybe 3 seconds and slow it down to about 40%. One last time, I'd like you to draw an X to depict where you and your family were standing, approximately.
Objection, answered numerous times already at this point.
I'd like to preserve this as an exhibit,
Go
since
ahead.
he's done it so many times. Can we save that as Exhibit 132A, and I've moved that into evidence?
Objection, relevancy. It's been answered numerous times.
Yeah. Making
Exhibit
it relevant.
132 is received.
Making it relevant, Darrell. Stupid.
132A. I believe.
Sorry, 132A.
Thank you.
Objection.
Overruled.
We can see the red SUV in the roadway on Main Street in this portion of the video. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. At this point in the video, can you see the driver leaning his head or body out of the driver's window?
No.
Let's go frame by frame, please. And pause there. We've paused it at about 4 seconds. This is the approximate location on cross-examination where you were asked about your position and whether or not you were 10 feet from the vehicle. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
When the vehicle was 10 feet away from you, is this where it was on Main Street?
Objection,
Overruled. You may answer.
speculative. It's clearly not 10 feet.
He asked if that's where it was. Look at this poor person. Look at this poor person here. Oh my gosh. See, different responses and reactions. Oh
It would.
The jury will disregard the comment made by Mr. Brooks.
my gosh.
It's not testimony. The witness may answer.
I don't consent to being called that name. Objection to that, for the record.
Could you repeat the question one more time, please?
When the vehicle was 10 feet away from you, is this as it's depicted right now in the video, is this where the vehicle was at that time?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Grounds for the overrule, Your Honor.
He may answer.
The vehicle at this point would still be east of my location.
Okay. So it hasn't, at this point in the video, it hasn't reached you and your family yet.
That is correct.
Let's go frame by frame, a few more frames, please. And we'll pause there.
Just for the record, it was not paused when you asked it to, so go ahead and get back to the spot.
Okay, we're going to resume that.
It should be at 4.
So looks like the video is at 4 seconds.
Yep, we'll play from there.
And if you could just indicate, hold on, what speed you're at.
We're going frame by frame at this point.
Thank you.
Towards the side.
Okay, we've paused at 5 seconds. Is the vehicle now closer to the approximate location where it was near you and your family?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes.
You described this video camera as being several hundred feet away from your location, is that right?
Approximately.
In your opinion,
I'm sorry. He said, in your opinion, we'll remember that. Look at the responses. This person running after, this person trying to protect, this person still with their hands in front of their face. This person's obviously responding and reacting. Look at the posture on these people. They are all in some kind of, and they're looking down the road at what happened. Oh my God, this is mass chaos. Mass chaos.
if the driver's body were hanging out the window at this point in the video, could we see it on the video?
In my opinion, no.
Okay. There was a question on cross-examination about your use of the phrase open alleyway. So just to clarify, what, if anything, was between the group of the Catholic group and the south curb of Main Street as the SUV drove through that area?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
I would believe that there was nothing in that space. It would be an open space.
And you testified that you saw the SUV veer from left to right. Is that correct?
Objection. Speculative.
Speculative.
Overruled.
What
You may
you
answer.
saw
That is
is
correct.
speculation.
I want to make sure that we're at about 40% speed here. This is still Exhibit 132. We're going to play from where we stopped, which is 5 seconds.
God.
In that last portion of the video, did you see the vehicle veer from left to right?
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to back that up for myself. I'm sorry.
Objection.
Overruled. You may answer.
Speculative. It's clearly not 10 feet.
It would.
The jury will disregard the comment made by Mr. Brooks.
I know
It's
there's
not.
a way to do this a little better.
Approximately.
In your opinion, if the driver's body were hanging out the window at this point in the video, could we see it on the video?
In my opinion, no.
Okay. There was a question on cross-examination about your use of the phrase open alleyway. So just to clarify, what, if anything, was between the group of the Catholic group and the south curb of Main Street as the SUV drove through that area?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
I would believe that there was nothing in that space. It would be an open space.
And you testified that you saw the SUV veer from left to right. Is that correct?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
That is correct.
So I want to make sure that we're at about 40% speed here. This is still Exhibit 132.
I'm just so focused
We're going to
on
play
the
from where
people.
we stopped, which is 5 seconds. In that last portion of the video, did you see the vehicle veer from left to right?
Yes.
Okay. In your description of a mechanical problem, you talked about the engine revving in what sounded like a high gear. Is that right?
Yes.
And almost as though it were stuck in the wrong gear.
Yes.
You're not a mechanic, are you?
No.
You testified that you thought it might be possible if a vehicle was stuck in the wrong gear that the driver could lose control. You remember saying that on cross-examination?
Yes.
Based on your limited knowledge of how vehicles work, if a vehicle is stuck in the wrong gear, do you know if the brakes still work?
Based on my knowledge, I would say yes. They should still work.
Your initial opinion that there may have been a mechanical problem, that changed at some point, didn't it?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled.
Yes.
Why did that opinion change?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. He may answer.
It changed when I saw the driver and his body language.
What was that body language? What did you see?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
I would describe him as being in an excited state, not in a state of panic. More, again, excited or almost happy about what was going on, not panicked or scared.
All I have. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir. You may step down.
And he's gonna laugh at him? He thinks it's funny? Or he thinks he did something and they didn't undo it. Oh, they totally undid what you did. Any doubt?
Statement called. Next witness.
Okay, I'm gonna break here because I like to keep it witness by witness. I know that seems like it takes a long time, and it does. This is a long trial. All right, thank you for joining. Like, subscribe, comment. I have a link that you can copy and paste. I think is still working. I'll check that for donations for WAUKESHA. And thanks for joining. It's Patty Jo.